What's up, everyone, and welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of The Outpost, the newest film from director Laurie, and is based off the book from Jake Tapper. Before we begin, please hit that subscribe button to join Movie Emporium, hit that notification bell at the top to find out what's coming next, and comment below on any video you watch, including this one. So The Outpost tells the true story of the Battle of Kamdesh, and the Battle of Kamdesh basically was about a bunch of Taliban insurgents, about 300 insurgents, who attacked this outpost called Outpost Keating, and it's about the Americans trying to protect this outpost before the cavalry arrives, before the help comes in with the the planes and helicopters, and shows the upwarding tension that leads to the final conflict. And Outpost Keating, according to this movie, it's based off a book by Jake Tapper. Is this outpost that is literally right next to the side of a mountain. The problem with the mountain is it has a lot of spots where these insurgents could attack them at, and throughout this movie, we see individual insurgents attacking the base, and we see them, the American army, American military, basically defend themselves. And people die, unfortunately, because it was considered what they call outpost Custer, which about Colonel Custer and stuff like that. And so this movie is about what that conflict was entailing. The fact that 8 soldiers, American soldiers, died, but 150 Taliban insurgents died. And yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing to look at, because when you look at war movies, there's 2 types of war movies. Or there's actually multiple types of war movies, but there's always 2 types of war movies that you really see. There's like the Saving Private Ryan, there's the Black Hawk Down, We Were Soldiers, and then you get the stuff like the Jarhead, the Hurt Locker, and then this movie. And what makes it interesting is, yeah, there are quiet moments on that side with like the Saving Private Ryan, but on this side, you're getting kind of the nuts and bolts of what it's like to live on a military base, what it's like to have to protect yourself when things do go to crap, go to S. You know what I'm talking about. But when you look at stuff like Jarhead and the Hurt Locker, there's a lot of downtime in war and the military and living on a base. Throughout this movie, there might be a couple moments where there's like somebody getting shot at, or there's the insurgents going after the crew, but it doesn't really focus on that. It literally goes to that shot and then goes right back to them like lifting weights and talking to their family and doing normal typical army stuff. And I enjoy that type of stuff. Jarhead's a very kind of mixed movie for a lot of people, because there's not a lot of war in it. It's just basically about people sitting around talking to one another. It's the same thing with the Hurt Locker. It's about the kind of the camaraderie and the relationships that these people have, and that's what this movie has in spades, is that type of camaraderie, or what do you want to call it. And so this movie is directed by Laurie, who I actually consider an underrated director. He directed stuff like The Last Castle, and of course one of those movies I consider underrated as well, which is called The Contender, which had Joan Allen, Gary Oldman. And this movie is actually quite good. It's quite entertaining. Jake Tapper, who's known in the news media world, very well known, I guess maybe well respected, depending on how your reviews are. It's also written by the 2 of the writers who worked on like The Fighter and Patriots Day and so on and so forth. So I think that's for what it's worth. But they do a really nice job of showing what life is like on this outpost. We see different corporals come through. We see the crew, the army, how they work together. They have their arguments, they have their moments, but they are a group of soldiers who have to live on a base, and they're just trying to get back to their family. And it's sad when soldiers die in these types of movies, because they have families, they have loved ones, they have people that are waiting for them and who are never going to see them again. So it is quite sad to watch. But this movie has the tension where the tension is needed. It has the moments of letting sigh of relief, letting the breath come out. The fact that we have Scott Eastwood, who's Clint Eastwood's son, in this movie. He's like the main protagonist, kind of, but he kind of goes into the official mix of all these characters. I think the standout of this movie is Caleb Landry Jones, but that's nothing new, because he's always the standout in almost every movie he's in. He plays this guy who is kind of like the outcast of the group. They don't really respect him because he's just so weird and so odd and so different. But when it comes to the official final climax of this battle, he really shines through in his, his character in real life. The main person actually won the Medal of Honor, as well as the Scott Eastwood character. And another interesting thing to note about this movie is a lot of the actors in this movie are sons of famous actors like Mel Gibson, Richard Attenborough, and Mick Jagger. So I found that kind of interesting that these actors are these kids of actors are actually getting roles like this. So it gives them kind of a nice look into what they're able to do as an actor, and most of them actually do a really nice job. So that was a really fun thing to watch, these actors of kids in movies like this. So there you go. But you can see the fear, you can see the sadness, but you can also see the friendships and how they act with one another. You can see when things go awry, it becomes a real tension filled moment and stuff like that. It's just an entertaining movie. It does some really interesting stuff. I think when you have those quiet moments when they're just people talking to one another. There's actually a sequence in here where they make fun of a guy who has like really thick glasses who wants to go and fly planes and stuff like that. It's that type of movie. You're gonna have your action sequences, which is what the third act really gets into. It's a very Black Hawk Down or 17 Hours, I think it's 17 Hours, whatever that Michael Bay movie was, type of a feel. But I think when you get down to the nuts and bolts of what Laurie and the writers and Jake Tapper were trying to do, they're just trying to tell a story of something that not a lot of people have ever heard of. And that's why I like when movies do this. They take the the material and the characters and they give them life and breathability to the fact that we can learn about these types of things. We do the Black Hawk Down stuff, the Schindler's List stuff. This stuff doesn't get known until it's put out in film, which is really sad. But the people that you come close to in this movie, some of them die, some of them don't, some of them you're affected by the facts of death, and the fact of what war does to the psyche is shown real well and nice in this movie, and it does a really nice job. So it's one I definitely recommend. It is very, very violent. There's a lot of coarse language and so on and so forth, but you consider that when you're watching a movie like this, kind of with the Hurt Locker and so on and so forth. So definitely recommend for a war film. Definitely recommend for a psychological view of the mind and psyche of an American soldier trying to go up against all odds. So but yeah, that's it. That's my take on The Outpost. Like I said, definitely a recommend. So I know a lot of people have never heard of this movie, but if you do watch this movie, let me know in the comments below what your favorite part about the movie was. What do you really enjoy about these types of movies? Actually, let me know what your favorite war movie is. That'd be another good thing too. So there you go. If you like this video, please hit that like button. If you dislike it, hey, you know what it is what it is. But also hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Notification bell at the top to find out what's coming next. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out. What's up, guys? Thank you so much for checking out Movie Emporium. I really appreciate it. If you want to, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification button and the bell at the top. Find out what's coming next for Movie Emporium. Also, check out these two videos. They're amazing. I think they're awesome. I think you'll enjoy them too. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.